How you doing? This is Tim Slater from X-Pro Motorsports. You can find us at xpromx.com. I wanted to do a little tech video today on crankshaft rods. A lot of people this winter taking their bikes apart, going through, freshening things up. Wanted to kind of give you guys a couple ideas on what to look for when you're inspecting your crankshaft. This motor here is a CRF250. Customer brought it in to do exactly that. Go through it this winter, freshen everything up, make sure everything's good to go for this season. This motor's pretty much all stock. We're going to throw a cam in it going back together, but other than that, it's a stock crank, stock piston, which we like to run a lot. They're very good and reliable, really good tolerances on those. Once I got the bike in here, started pulling stuff apart, inspecting things, I found actually a spot that was worn that a lot of people tend to overlook on the cranks. A lot of people will tend to feel the lower rod bearing. If it has a lot of end play, they'll take and replace the crankshaft or have the crank rebuilt. And a lot of people won't really look too much at the small end. On the 4-strokes, we don't run bearings. It's actually a bushing up top. A stock rod is just a honed bushing surface to run on your wrist pin. Some of the aftermarket rods actually have a different material, like a bronze bushing pressed into the actual rod here, which we've actually seen fail faster than the stock rods. So actually what we like to run is an aftermarket Pro X rod. They're double forged, a little bit lighter. Very good tolerances on these rods, so that's typically what we tend to run now. On this small end of this rod, when we took the motor apart, where your wrist pin runs on the small end, we found on this motor 2 thousandths clearance. A lot of people might think 2 thousandths, that's not too bad, you got oil clearance in there, but actually if you look at the rod, it's hard to see in the video, but you can see there's some discoloration in there, and that's actually wear in the rod itself. You don't need any crazy measuring tools or anything like that to look at it and just say that doesn't look right. If you don't have the tools, you can bring it to a shop or send it to us. We can spec it out, measure it up, and see where it's at to see if you got to replace it. But so again, 2 thousandths clearance. A lot of people don't think that's too bad. They would slip the wrist pin in there, go, oh yeah, we're good to go for next season, put a piston and ring in it, and on the way you go. However, a new rod, the clearances should be between 6/10 and 8/10 is what I like to see. Anything more than that, you create a little bit of rock on your piston, which will create premature wear on your rod and premature wear on your piston, rings, cylinder, all that, and can lead to a catastrophic failure, wipe out a whole motor over something as simple as a clearance on your small end. Another kind of crazy thing we found with wear on a small end bearing on actually it was a CRF250 we had on the dyno. We had numbers on it, we knew exactly where it should be as far as horsepower, got it back up on there, was changing some tuning stuff. There was about 8 hours on the motor at that point, and this was running one of those aftermarket rods with a bushing pressed in. We were down 4 horsepower on the dyno, and we had 2 thousandths clearance on the small end. That was the only thing that was wrong with that motor once it came apart. Once we were down that much, I started pulling stuff apart, speccing everything out. Everything was perfect. Our cylinder, piston, rings, valves, everything was exactly where it should have been until I got to the actual small end on the rod. I specced that out and found 2 thousandths clearance that scrubbed 4 horsepower on a 250F. Any of you guys out there running stock bikes or even a lightly modified bike or anything like that, 4 horsepower is huge. So wanted to just kind of do a little tech video to show people, give them an idea on what to look for. It's wintertime. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are going through rebuilding your stuff, want to make it ready to go for next season. But if you have any questions on any of this stuff or anything else inside your motors, any tech questions or anything, feel free to reach us on the website, xpromx.com. Our email's on there, our phone number's on there, and we'll be more than willing to help with any questions. So thanks for watching.